That's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
Welcome back to the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast, the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin. This week we are covering January into February of 1999. We're picking up right where we left off a couple of weeks ago when we did episode 40, which was No Chance in Hell, where we covered up to the Royal Rumble, where Stone Cold got screwed by Mr. McMahon, and we'll be picking up the next night on Raw, building up to the next pay-per-view, which is St. Valentine's Day Massacre. So that's what we have on tap for you this week. I'm Mike Prue, along with JV. JV, how you doing?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Another hot one out there today, bro.
It just keeps getting hotter and hotter, heat wave after heat wave, and and at this point, it's all over the country too. So it's not like we're just complaining about our area.
Fucking Europe's getting whacked.
Most people are dealing with the heat, but hey, it's a summer. As our boy Lenny said last when we were out golfing with him on that super hot day. Like, yeah, people bitch when it's hot, and that's what they've been waiting for. And they'll bitch about it, and then when it becomes the winter, you'll bitch about the cold. So, like, you wanted this. You wanted it to be warm. Now you're bitching about it.
You know what else is hot? Just to go in comparison, Mr. McMahon.
Yeah,
coming off
won the Royal Rumble.
Coming off a fresh Royal Rumble victory. Dude's on fire.
Yeah. So, yeah, as I said, though, on episode 40, he wins it, but then the very next night, it's like, okay, I'm not going to be in the main event at WrestleMania. So we'll get into all that. But last week, we had a little mishap. We were just kind of playing it safe last week. Is that we usually record on Monday, and there was big thunder and lightning storms going on in our area. So we didn't want to record and have it all screw up and then have to start over again. And so we said, screw it, let's record on Tuesday. And then when it came time on Tuesday to record, it was already starting to get a little late. I think we explained that on the last week's episode, which was not one of the chronological episodes. It was the Stone Cold Top 5 of 1998. And the listeners out there seem to like that because that's one of our biggest listens in the first week.
Yeah, thanks for that, listeners.
Out of all our episodes.
We need to find a name for our listeners. Instead of just calling them listeners, they need like nicknames.
Call them the Stunners.
The Stunners, yeah.
Hey, Stunners out there.
The Stunners.
Yeah, you'll get our accent too. We get the A instead of the ER at the end there. Stunner.
It's not authentic unless you're a stunner.
The number one Stunners.
Yeah. The big timers.
Yeah, the big timers. What? All right, so let's get on track here. Let me just finish up the show opening here. We also do want to point out that we have the Extreme ECW live cast on the Book in the Territory Patreon feed. And this week, today, if you're listening to this on debut day, we are dropping tonight episode 6 of Hardcore TV ECW Extreme live cast, where we watched episodes 11 and 12 from June 15th and June 22nd of 1993. So if you're interested in checking that out, you can find that over at the Book in the Territory Patreon feed at patreon.com/bookintheterritory. All right. So as I said, we did episode 40 leading up to Royal Rumble. Then we did our little top 5 last week, but now here we are back with episode 41, which is untitled at this time. So we'll think of one. And when you're watching this, or when you're listening to this and you see it on your screen, well, you'll know the episode. Right now, we don't know it, but it's episode 41, January through February 1999. And it's going to pick up right on the very next night after the Royal Rumble, Raw 296, January 25th, 1999. This is happening live in Phoenix, Arizona. And we're going to start off, of course, with a promo, because that's kind of the way the show is set up at this point. And the opening promos are starting to get a little longer. They're starting to reach that 20-minute mark now. So We're going to be chopping those up every once in a while. We're not going to play straight 20 minutes.
Just 20 minutes of audio.
Yeah. And in some cases, we're not even going to play part of it anymore.
Yeah.
So, like with this first part, for instance, Mr. McMahon comes out. Well, he's going to go out there and talk for a few minutes, so we're just going to recap it. We don't have to hear him. But he comes out there, and
crowd is hot. Crowd is hot.
Yeah, the crowd's big time. And Shane is going to go out there first and then announce the winner of the 1999 Royal Rumble, Mr. McMahon. The No Chance in Hell music busts out. And McMahon comes out there. He's up on Test and Bossman's shoulders, yelling, "I'm going to WrestleMania. I'm going to WrestleMania." He goes, "I came, I saw, and I kicked Stone Cold's ass." So he's living it up there.
And there are some fans actually in the crowd, if you rewatch this, living it up and cheering on Vince McMahon. So
yeah, it's pretty fun. It's exciting.
Yeah,
it's cool.
It's cool to see the fans actually flexing for McMahon, pumped that he won. It's funny.
Yeah. So McMahon from there is going to go on to introduce the new WWF champion, which is The Rock. So The Rock won the title at the Royal Rumble in an I Quit match, a brutal I Quit match, as we talked about a couple weeks ago. So The Rock is now the champion, and Mankind is going to come out later. We'll get to it, but he's basically going to claim that he didn't say I quit, and it was just an audio recording. But we'll get more into that in a little bit. So you have the new champion, and McMahon is going to give The Rock a $100,000 bounty. Okay? If you remember a couple weeks ago, we mentioned that McMahon upped the ante to all the members in the Rumble, that there would be a $100,000 bounty for whoever causes Austin to get thrown out. Well, McMahon points out, I threw him out. So nobody has to get the bounty, but he's going to give the bounty to The Rock because The Rock helped him. The Rock distracted Austin, allowing for McMahon to dump him. So Shane looks kind of pissed off when The Rock says, "I'm going to give you the $100,000 from Shane's account or whatever."
His trust fund.
Yeah, his trust fund.
Yep.
That's the word I'm looking for. So Shane's not too happy about that. And you got Mr. McMahon telling The Rock, he's heard that The Rock may be worried about defending the title against Mr. McMahon at WrestleMania. So he's going to tell The Rock, "I don't want you to be intimidated. And I want you to have this weight off of your shoulders. I've signed papers that removes me as the number one contender. I waive all rights to face you at WrestleMania. But I have reserved the right to name the person you will be facing." So he's going to give up his rights, but he's going to pick who he wants to face The Rock. So in this case, you'd be thinking, well, he's probably going to choose fucking Golga or somebody.
Fucking Gilbert.
Gilbert, yeah. So he has the right to just give The Rock anybody he wants. But that's going to be short-lived because we're going to have a little guest appearance on the Titantron. It's going to be Stone Cold. Stone Cold's going to appear on the Titantron and say live via satellite, San Antonio, Texas. And he gets on the screen there, and, you'll hear it for yourself. So let's play that clip of Austin and Stone Cold, and also another special appearance. And it's in San Antonio, so you can figure it out for yourself. But this one is pretty lengthy, 4 or 5 minutes, so take a listen to this, and we'll wrap it up when we get back from the clip.
What's Mr. McMahon yellow? What do you mean? Another magnanimous move on the part of Mr. McMahon!
Now, Austin, Stone Cold, I told you there was no chance in hell of you winning the Royal Rumble.
I love to hear him say that. That is so great. Say it again.
And quite frankly, Austin, as far as I'm concerned, you will never, ever again step into the ring with a WWF champion, much less myself. Because you know what, Stone Cold? You've simply run out of chances, Austin.
Good.
Hey, jackass, look on the big screen. I'm up here.
Hey! What?
Look at me, you sorry son of a bitch.
You're up where? Where are you?
I'm in Texas.
Oh, okay. You're in Texas, I'm in Arizona. That makes sense to me because I'm sure that you've been humiliated. I'm sure you can't even come out of your house. I'm sure people are coming up to you and saying, hey, aren't you the guy? Aren't you the guy that Vince McMahon threw over the top rope?
Yes. I doubt it.
Yeah, I think that sounds fine, Vince, but I'll tell you this. I'm going to WrestleMania.
What? Well, I guess as a fan.
You mean you're going to buy a ticket to go to WrestleMania?
No, you dumb son of a bitch. I'm telling you, I'm going to WrestleMania to face the champion.
What?
No. Well, you must be chewing on some loco weed or something down there in Texas.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I mean, what are you saying?
I don't know what you're talking about, all this loco weed, all the little crap you're talking about. I'm telling you right now in English, read my lips if you've got a hard time hearing what I'm saying. I'm going to WrestleMania to wrestle the champion. I'm telling you that, but not just me telling you that. The guy right beside me is telling you the same damn thing.
It's the commissioner! Commissioner Shawn Michaels is with Austin!
Hey, big man. Now, you got to admit, I'm healing damn well, all right?
I can't believe it!
Stone Cold, mi casa, su casa. Now, I'm sure everybody's wondering what old Stone Cold is doing in my home. Now, Steve doesn't need protection, but in fact, that's what I'm going to give him anyway. I'm going to protect Steve from Vince McMahon and the corporation, but more importantly, what I'm doing is protecting Stone Cold Steve Austin from himself. Because Vince, you know as well as I do, if Steve was in that building tonight, he'd open a can of whoop ass on you the likes of which you have never seen.
No doubt about it.
Now, Vince, it's my understanding that you filed papers giving up your right to go to WrestleMania against the WWF champion. I also understand that you plan on appointing a replacement to go to WrestleMania. Well, Vinny, my friend, that just ain't gonna happen as long as the Heartbreak Kid is the commissioner of the World Wrestling Federation.
And he still is the commissioner. What's he talking about?
Now, old Stone Cold and I have been reading over the WWF rule book.
What?
That's not the official one. It's here somewhere. And it says that if the winner of the Royal Rumble either is unable or unwilling to go to WrestleMania to fight the champion, then the runner-up gets all rights and privileges.
What? Stone Cold is going to WrestleMania because Mr. McMahon...
So I guess what I'm telling you is this. Last night, when you filed those papers, you checked yourself out of the main event at WrestleMania, and Stone Cold Steve Austin has been checked in.
A rule technicality has sunk Mr. McMahon. This is not right.
All right, so there you have it. So just as Austin appears on the screen, he says, "Hey, jackass, look up on the big screen. I'm up here." And I immediately noticed the background where they were because they had been at this place previously. It's a bar and it has like, I don't know, San Antonio Tex-Mexican type decor.
Yep.
And I immediately recognized it as where Shawn Michaels is coming from. Shawn Michaels' house, where Chyna and Triple H were there one time. They cut a promo there. I was like, oh, that's the Shawn Michaels house. And they don't reveal that it's Shawn Michaels right away. They just focus on Austin, and then Shawn Michaels will pop out a couple moments later. But I remembered. I don't know if it's actually his house. It probably is his house, but It also could be a set. Who knows? If they're shooting from the exact same angle, maybe it's a set. But very likely it's just his house. So anyway, not that that's a big deal. So let's get into the kind of recap here of what was just said. You talk about him feeling humiliated, and he was thrown out by Vince McMahon. Austin being humiliated, and you can't even come out of your house. People must come up to you and say, "Hey, aren't you the guy that Vince McMahon threw over the top rope?" like that's how he's going to be recognized. Hey, aren't you the guy that Vince McMahon tossed out last night? Or not? Holy shit, Stone Cold.
Yeah.
But Austin right away just kind of rains on McMahon's parade and says, "Well, I'm going to WrestleMania." McMahon replies, "You mean you're going to buy a ticket to WrestleMania?" "No, you dumb son of a bitch. I'm telling you, I'm going to WrestleMania to face the champion." And then McMahon's comeback is great. "You must be chewing on some of that local weed down there in Texas."
I like that line.
He said, "No, I'm telling you. Telling you that. The guy right beside me is going to tell you the same damn thing." So HBK slides into the picture. And there you have it. And I do want to point out before I go any further with this is that if it is at Michael's house, Austin and HBK have probably been hanging out all day drinking.
Dude, because Stone Cold looks drunk, like buzzed, because he's having trouble. Right. Like, it looks like he's actually like reading off a paper. Because he keeps looking down at the table, like, and that's unlike Austin. Austin's usually fucking stone cold, staring into the fucking camera,
and ready to go.
Yeah, and here he just keeps like looking down, and he had to have like notes or something, bullet points. But like you said, you hit it. That's the same thing I thought. Like, if he's at Shawn Michaels' house, probably been there all fucking day, so he's probably Lord knows how many, Steve Weiser's deep at this point.
Right. And they're probably like, "Hey, we don't have to work today, really. We're just going to cut this promo, so let's fucking drink up."
And he's probably smoking weed, too, because that's Vince probably like a tongue-in-cheek comment. Because his eyes look a little glazed over, too. I know the difference as a professional. I can tell the difference between the two.
Yeah.
It looks like he's got some weed in his system.
Yeah, there's definitely some weed and alcohol in the system.
Yeah,
sure.
that's a mix. That's a good mix.
So definitely go back and watch this episode of Raw and watch Austin if you don't believe it, because it's damn true. It's just funny to see, like, I'm fucking hanging back, kicking back.
Yeah.
Screw it. All right, so Shawn Michaels is there. He slides into the pick. He tells Vince McMahon that, well, this is another thing that made me realize, like, oh yeah, they fucked up. HBK's like, "Stone Cold, Mikasa, Sukasa." And they're like, "Yeah, man, yeah." And it's so obvious at that point. But anyway, HBK says, "Austin doesn't need protection. That's what I'm going to give him. I'm going to protect Steve from Vince McMahon and the corporation. But most importantly, I'm protecting Stone Cold Steve Austin from himself. Because, Vince, if Steve was in that building tonight, he would open up a can of whoop ass on you like the likes you've never seen before." So I guess it's still part of the contract with Austin that he can't touch McMahon unless they're in a match together. So the Royal Rumble, he had the opportunity, but now that that's over, he can't touch him still. That's why Austin's going to challenge him. He's going to challenge him to a match. Coming up in a second here. HBK points out that Vince signed papers releasing himself as being the #1 contender at WrestleMania. HBK, and I thought this was good writing that they went back to this, that HBK is now in charge. He's in charge of talent, and since McMahon is talent, he can determine what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And now, actually, no, there is one thing though that kind of did throw me for a little loop here, I think, and is that McMahon always said that he had control over Austin, nobody else did.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
So HBK is putting Austin in the match, even though he's not supposed to have control over determining what Austin does.
Yep.
But actually, yeah, they do mention though. So That's right. So that's what I was thinking when watching it. But then they did cover their ass with it and said that, well, since Austin was the last one left in the Rumble and you forfeited your shot, he gets the title shot. So yeah, that's what happened. But that's what I was thinking. Like, they're gonna fuck up what they said earlier, but they didn't. They covered their ass with that last minute clause there. That Austin was the second to last in the Rumble, so he gets the title shot. So it's looking like it's going to be set up for Rock versus Austin at WrestleMania. Even Michael Cole yells it. That's like the coolest thing that he's ever said yet. At this point, this is Rock Austin at WrestleMania.
Yeah, he gets to call that his. A big call. Yep. That's a big call.
But it's immediately going to change within the next week. So I mean, we know it's going to become Rock versus Austin, but they kind of dance back and forth.
You kind of knew they weren't just going to make it easy for Austin.
Right.
Or, make the fans that pleased.
Yep. All right, so by the way, HBK said he found that in his rule book, and the rule book was a bottle of Jack Daniels. All right, so Austin is he's on the path to WrestleMania at this point, but McMahon is not going to let him just have it easy, as JV just said. So McMahon has a counter for him, and let's listen to the next part of that promo.
Rock Austin at WrestleMania.
Vince, I'll tell you what. I'm sure I scrambled your brains with that chair the other night, but I don't want you to get your panties all in a ruffle just yet, because I got a proposition for you. What I'll do is this. I would love to have the World Wrestling Federation title back on my shoulder once again, and that's the bottom line, and that for damn sure is the truth. But I'll tell you this. I think I might want to beat the living hell out of you even more than I want that title.
What?
So to get your ass in the ring before that, on Valentine's Day, what I will do is I will put up my right for the WWF title at WrestleMania if you will face me in a match.
Wait a minute. Wow.
Now, if I lose that match, well, then that means I lose the right to face the champ at WrestleMania.
After the humiliation you suffered last night, you want some more of me?
Damn straight. Shut up.
Let me just tell you this. At any moment last night, I could have thrown your ass over the top ropes, and it was stupid on my part. I made the big mistake, and then Rocky brought his square-headed ass out there, and it was a bunch of BS all from the start. I screwed up, and it ain't gonna happen again. On your best day, Vince, on your best day, you can't lace one of my boots, and that's the damn truth.
Well, you got me interested, okay? I'm interested. Go ahead.
Well, what it seems to me is what you do best is run. So that's the kind of match that I want this to be. I don't want to be any kind of wrestling match because I could beat you any day of the week. So what I suggest we do is we wrestle in a cage match.
Whoa!
You and me in a cage.
Wait a minute
You
now.
ain't got to pin me. You ain't got to make me submit. All you got to do is run around that damn ring long enough, and if you beat me out over the top and on the ground, then that means you win.
Wait a minute.
That's your specialty, Vince. You're a chicken. You run. That's what you do.
Let me think about it for a minute. Wait a minute.
King, there is
You
no
take all the
way.
time in the world, you son of a bitch.
King, there's no way the corporate team can let Mr. McMahon get away with it. There's no way they
All
can
you
let him
gotta
go
do,
into a
Vince, is
cage.
get over the damn cage. What do you say? You and me. WrestleMania title shot on the line. You will never, ever see Stone Cold give me another beer. You will never, ever see Stone Cold Steve Austin in another title match. That's what we got at stake on Valentine's Day. If you got the damn guts, or let me say this, if you've got the balls to do it, give me a damn answer.
All right, Austin. You're on. You got your match.
No! Mr. McMahon's crazy.
Then let me tell you this. Let me tell you this, you dumb son of a bitch. I will guarantee, there's that famous word again, I will guarantee you, I will guarantee the world that I will beat your ass all over that damn cage. I will walk right over your limp, bloody carcass, and Stone Cold Steve Austin will walk right into WrestleMania to face The Rock. And if I can't beat that son of a bitch, I should have never wrestled in the first place. And that's the bottom line, 'cause Stone Cold said so.
King Mr. McMahon has allowed his ego to again get the best of him. He has no chance in less than 3 weeks in a steel cage against the Texas Rattlesnake at St. Valentine's Day Massacre.
All right, so Austin had a proposition there for Mr. McMahon. Tells him, I would love to have the WWF title over my shoulder, and that's the bottom line, but I'll tell you this, I think I want to beat the living hell out of you more than I want that title. So I want to get your ass in the ring before that. I want to get your ass in the ring. It's St. Valentine's Day. It'll be St. Valentine's Day Massacre pay-per-view. And he says that he'll put up his right for the WWF title match at WrestleMania in the match against Mr. McMahon. And he doesn't want Mr. McMahon to run like he always runs. So it's going to be in a steel cage.
Mm-hmm.
Which is cool. It's like, all right, cool. We're going to get more McMahon. McMahon's getting even more involved. Another match within a month. So that's what we're building up to at this point. Austin is kind of going off the rails with his promo a little bit at this point. and repeating himself and like pausing at times. And McMahon is in the ring looking at him like, hey, come on.
Hey, top guy, what are you doing?
Right.
We're still in a wrestling war here.
Right. Man, that's the last time I let you and HBK go out and do your own thing. Up
What did you think was going to happen, Vince?
Right. All right, so that kind of sets us up for what's going to go down for the next few weeks, leading up to that St. Valentine's Day Massacre. I guess it would be a title shot match, even though Austin has the title shot, but he has the chance to lose it in the steel cage against Mr. McMahon. Now, the world title picture. I did mention that The Rock is the new champion, but we want to keep an eye on what's going on with that because we're building up to Austin at WrestleMania for the World Championship. So we want to kind of follow along with what's going on with the WWF World Championship. So The Rock is going to get challenged on Raw 296 that same night by Triple H. Triple H says that he don't think that he made Mankind quit, and he can't make him quit. So he challenges him to an I Quit match that night. The Rock comes out, and JV, you must have loved this. He interrupts the oddities, so it looks like you're going to get an oddities match, and The Rock just comes out like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, not happening.
Get this trash out of here.
Yeah.
He did what we were thinking.
Yeah. So The Rock accepts that challenge for later in the night. Meanwhile, Mankind is going to go up to an armored vehicle. It's called Curtis Inc. It's supposed to be like, what is those companies? What's the company? The armored truck. Like a Brinks?
Brinks. That's, yeah, I was thinking Brinks, and what's the other one? Don't matter. We got Brinks.
Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they have this Brinks truck, basically, and there's two guards standing beside it. And Mankind's going to go up and just like easily kick their ass and open the door. Which is pretty comical. It's like they're supposed to be like trained and the door's unlocked too. There's no key. So Mankind just knocks them down, opens up the door. It's unlocked. And he takes a bag. And presumably the bag is the money that McMahon wanted to give The Rock. So The Rock sees this happening. This is right after the Rock promo. Mankind comes out to the ring, and he starts throwing money around to the crowd, which they kind of screw up, though, because the cameraman zooms in, and $10 bills.
Yeah, and some of them are blanks. If you look at the backs of some of them, the way he turns the money, that's not even real money. The backs of them are like blank.
So they definitely screwed it up there with the close shot of the fake money. It would suck though, like if you're in the crowd, you're like, yeah, you're trying to grab for it, and it's not even real.
I would have been grabbing for it for sure.
Definitely, I would have. Been sorely disappointed after.
Yeah, that would be like, yeah, at least I got a souvenir.
Yeah,
And which I'd lose in like 2 weeks.
right. Let's save it for a convention one day. Mankind can sign it.
Yeah. See him at Comic-Con.
Yeah. All right, so Mankind comes out. He says he's got my belt, but I got his money. You know, and he points out what is obvious. It was clear if you watched Royal Rumble. He even jokes about it. He says, I feel like I've been hit with a chair about 11 times.
But
Yeah, because he legit did. He says, I may have been unconscious, but I don't remember saying the words I quit. He says, with the help of the production team, I think I solved a mystery. So Mankind's going to cut to the Titantron and show from Heat the night before, just hours before the pay-per-view, the Royal Rumble. There's a promo where Mankind says, I'm not going to say the words, I quit, I quit, I quit. And those are the exact same words, the same audio that was played at the end of the match, causing him to lose. And then Shane on Heat, after Mankind says that, after he says, I quit, I quit, I quit, after the promo, Shane even says, thank you very much for those kind words, Mick. Which, that's clever. Clever writing there. Because watching back, I didn't remember that was the finish. It's been a while.
you know why I always remember that? I always remember this. You're still talking about the Rock and Mankind finish, right? With the I Quit recording.
Yeah.
I think it's WWE 2K13.
Oh.
A video game. That's a fucking one of the matches you play in it during the I think the Attitude Era mode.
Yep.
And I just remember it from that.
So what are you, Mankind, and then you just lose all of a sudden? You're like, what the fuck?
I forget who you are, but I just remember like the shitty which I thought was great animation in probably like 2013 or whatever of fucking Mankind like yelling I quit, but you could tell it's. Then they used the actual audio in the video game from the from the actual pay-per-view from the Royal Rumble. Cool. Yeah, pretty sure it's 2K13 because it's whichever one had the Stone Cold Attitude Era mode was like the last great wrestling game in my opinion.
That's the same one that had it?
I'm pretty sure. Yep.
All right, so Mankind drives home the point that, he never said I quit, and he's going to challenge The Rock. He said, I never said I quit, but I'm going to challenge you to a match at Halftime Heat. So this coming Sunday is the Super Bowl Sunday, and they're going to do Halftime Heat. So they're going to have an empty arena match for the WWF Championship, and Rock accepts that challenge. So Rock already has 2 title matches lined up already. He's got one tonight against Triple H, and then he has one against Mankind the following week. So that brings us now to the Rock defending against Triple H. The Rock calls Triple H half gay. You're half gay anyway. The Rock said some brutal shit back in his day.
Man. If it's good thing he would not be. Tell you what, he just got that big endorsement from Voss Water. They wouldn't be giving him that water in that endorsement in 1999.
No, I think if any of these people that are endorsing him now would just go back onto the network and watch him, they might reconsider.
Really, all it's going to take is like one fucking
woman.
I don't know, someone in Hollywood. Someone that's like vindictive just to like fucking blow it up at like a media company and just point out all the fucking
look at all the things
raw
he did.
And some like real serious SJW that really hates The Rock for some reason.
But then he can always just fall back and say, I was playing The Rock. I'm Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
Playing The Rock, dumbass.
Yeah. Good luck with that, buddy, in today's environment.
No, but still, yeah. There's such a thin line, especially during the Attitude Era of you're playing a role or you're being yourself.
Yeah.
All right, so basically what happens in this match is we're going to get a turn. Chyna's going to turn on Triple H. She's out at ringside most of the match, and she's not really doing anything to help Triple H like she normally would. She would usually like try to trip somebody's leg. She didn't do shit. So that made me think, what's up with this? How come Chyna's not doing anything? And it's a no DQ match, too, so why wouldn't you get involved and do something? So she eventually does.
Yeah, good point.
But for the other side, she does her trademark nut shot. So she does the nut shot. The corporation comes down. Kane grabs. Actually, no. Let me just kind of reset that up a little bit. The corporation comes down first, and they act like they're going to hurt China. So that forces Triple H into saying that he quits because he's not going to quit. So he's like, "Screw it, I'll quit," because he just gave the pedigree for The Rock. He's about to go for the cover. But that won't even make sense either. He goes for a cover because The Rock has to say, "I quit." But anyway, it works out anyway the other way around because Triple H just says, "I quit. Screw it." He wants to save China, his friend. And then China hits him in the balls. That's it. Now, nothing happens, though, because... Actually, yeah, he said, "I quit," so the match is over. So, whatever. It's kind of convoluted there because how is Triple H going to beat The Rock after hitting the pedigree? So why did the corporation have to come down to do that? I don't know, whatever. Still pretty cool, I guess, in the end there, that you had China turning on him. Just another twist, another turn. It seems like everyone's starting to align with Mr. McMahon gradually during this time. But with China...
No. Yeah, everyone's... I mean, at this point, too, make whatever sales pitch, quote-unquote, McMahon had before the Royal Rumble only has that much more substance to it now. But now that he's finally conquered Stone Cold, he's won the Rumble.
Yeah.
So when he's trying to, grease these other wrestlers to kind of go all in with the corporation, what better time than now, as far as, if you want to be a believer in Vince McMahon.
That's a good point. I was just thinking with China, it's like, how long is that going to last? And how stupid is it for her to turn, but then have to go back with DX?
Yeah, I forget how this plays out, too. So
yeah, I don't remember either. All right, so from there, we now go on to Heat. So we'll move on to Heat 27, which is the halftime Heat. That's on January 31st, 1999. All along that we've been doing a show, we've been given the show numbers, and we'll continue to do that. But on the WWE Network, since they've updated it, they don't have the show numbers anymore. So you need to go by the dates, which I don't like. I like having the number. It's easier for me to just remember 27. Oh, the next one's 28, rather than January 31st, February 6th, whatever. I don't know how you feel about that change, but it annoyed me.
I didn't
notice. It's a little shit that bothers me. All right, so you have this match at Halftime Heat. It's the empty arena match. I thought it was pretty cool. I don't know if you went back to watch it. Did you check it out in the past couple of weeks leading up to us doing this?
You broke up there. I didn't catch what you were asking.
Did you check out the empty arena match?
Yes, I did.
All right.
My thoughts on it? I remember watching this live too. I remember switching over and watching it.
Yep.
During the Super Bowl.
It was the Falcons Super Bowl.
Yeah, Falcons and Falcons Broncos. You're right. Yes. John Elway's. No, John Elway didn't win this one, or did he?
I think he did. 98, 99?
Back to back. Yeah, second of his back to back with Darrell Davis and all that. But anyhow, I mean, it's all right. It's not the best match, but I remember feeling it was. I guess I'll speak more to how I remember it because I just there was more emotion there. I just remember it being cool because it was like, wow, look how big wrestling is.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's fucking playing during the Super Bowl.
Right? They had a Super Bowl commercial that same year.
Yeah.
And you could turn to USA and
it was the Iconics commercial too, right? Where it's like they're walking through the office and Kane's choke slamming someone. Is it that?
Yeah.
Was it that commercial?
Yep.
Yeah. What was that commercial called? It's iconic. The Attitude Era commercial, I guess.
Yeah, it's called
easiest way to refer to.
Attitude, Get It, I think.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Something like that.
So yeah, that was definitely a cool commercial where Austin's walking around and he just punched somebody and Some people, some people are making out in the hallway.
Yes, so we're on the same page here. But no, I think it's a cool match. There's a lot of backstage fighting. They really go all over the arena, which was cool because it was empty. I guess you kind of feared that they were just going to stay in the ring or maybe just stay in the stands. But they fucking go balls to the wall.
Yeah, all over the whole building.
The whole building.
The office area.
The old kitchen. dated office area. Everything's like that old, like 1970s wood.
Yeah.
At whatever stadium they're in.
Wood paneling.
Like Mankind's hits The Rock with popcorn, and The Rock sells the hell out of it.
Yep.
I mean, it's fucking popcorn. The Rock drinking Jack Daniels, and Mankind slaps it out of his mouth while they're in like the banquet area.
Yep.
Rock's like The Rock's like eating all of the food when they get to the food section.
Yeah.
Like he keeps trying it all, and he like spits out the salsa because it's mild.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, and then he's like, he picks up the phone while he's in the office, and he's like, "Oh, Mankind isn't available right now. His mouth is filled with The Rock's foot in it, or something like that."
And he answers the phone as a SmackDown hotel.
Yeah. They call like twice or something.
Yeah,
right?
there's a couple of phone calls.
He answers twice. Yeah. Cool spot too is when The Rock buries Mankind with chairs before they start going backstage, before shit really goes off the rails, where they're still kind of like in the arena.
Yeah, and also Mankind takes a huge bump down the stairs. He rolls for like 10 steps.
10 stairs. It's brutal. That guy, man, crazy. But and also a really cool finish, which I also only remember this finish because of the fucking video game. Because you play this out in that as well.
The forklift.
Yeah, you got to like pick him up and like lay him down in front of the forklift or something. I forgot how it plays out, but it's a cool ending.
It's funny the shot that they give too, where it's like The Rock's getting crushed. Like, oh no!
Yeah, like he's gonna kill him.
It's just like on his face, like obviously totally different camera shot than you usually see in wrestling. Yeah. So, to sum it up there, Mankind wins the title. So Mankind's the champion. He says, "Yo, Adrian, I did it again." So there we have it again. Mankind becomes the champ. And I figure, there was a title change happening here because it was in that primetime halftime heat spot where they wanted the new audience to see a big match and a title change, and show like their big star, like their movie-looking star, but then also this crazy wild guy can beat him and wins the title.
Yeah.
So pretty cool. I like the beginning. Before the match even starts, Mankind shows up in a Toyota, like a 1987 Toyota that someone else is driving, and he just it's like he bummed a ride off somebody.
1999 Uber.
And then The Rock arrives in a limo, so just showing you the difference between the two stars. One shows up in a Toyota, one's in a limo.
The blue collar wrestler, Mankind, Mick Foley.
So pretty cool thing there. They just recently, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, they did another halftime heat. Probably sucked. I didn't watch it. It was on the network, though. All right, so we got a new champ, Mankind. That brings us to Raw 297, February 1st. This is happening in Tucson, Arizona. This is taped the very next day from that last Raw we were just talking about, which was on January 26th. And I think this is the same day that they filmed the empty arena match we just talked about. They probably did it before. I don't know, because later in the show it's dark. So maybe they did some of it before and then some of it after the show. That's what I'm figuring.
So you think, yeah, probably.
Before, probably like at, I don't know, say like 2 PM. They did the beginning stuff in the empty arena. And then they made their way outside and it was dark. Because if you're watching the Super Bowl, it's starting to get dark at that time. So they probably had to record it later in the night. That's what I figure. All right, so anyway, that happened in Tucson, and here we are now, Raw. The show's going to open with Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon is running the show this week because Vince McMahon is on special assignment, and his goal is to provoke Stone Cold Steve Austin to hit him. He wants to get beat up by Stone Cold so that he can have Stone Cold get fired. He can have him breach his contract, and he doesn't get that match at St. Valentine's Day Massacre, and thus does not get the title shot at WrestleMania. So that's his plan. He's going to go down to Victoria, Texas, which was not Victoria, Texas. It was in Tucson, Arizona, but they pretended like they were in Victoria. And McMahon and the Stooges are going to go on a little trip, and there's going to be segments throughout the show where they're going to different places to find Austin. So you're getting little comedy, McMahon and Stooge comedy throughout the show. So the first stop that they're going to have is that Mr. McMahon and the Stooges go to a bar, and Briscoe and Patterson are dressed up like city slickers, like fake cowboys, and they got these ridiculous hats on.
Yeah, like overkill, like exaggerated cowboy hats.
And McMahon, as he goes in the bar, he tells them, "You need to follow my lead because I know how to handle these kind of people."
Yeah, these kind of people.
So McMahon goes right up to the bartender. He goes, "Hey, Toots. Hey, Toots."
So derogatory.
Have you seen Stone Cold Steve Austin? I heard he frequents this establishment. Like, he's just shitting on the place. Like, yeah, this establishment. Bartender says, "I reckon not." McMahon reckons. "Where I come from, we don't reckon. You either have seen him or not." And then the bartender pulls out a bat, tells him to leave. Vince leaves and storms off all pissed off. What I thought was funny about these skits is that these people that they have in the skits, whether they go to these bars, they go to these restaurants and shit, it's definitely the people that actually work there, and their acting sucks because they're just a regular bartender out there. Somebody
Yeah,
right.
I don't know.
So it's funny to go watch the actual scene and see this crap act, which you should expect, but it's still funny to see. The next part comes at 32 minutes and 33 minutes. You have Briscoe he has a bullwhip. Briscoe's walking around with a bullwhip, which I didn't notice in the first segment, but Briscoe has it, and Patterson and Briscoe are starting to flirt with some people playing pool, some of the girls playing pool. And Patterson gets kneed in the nuts. And I think on commentary, I forget who was on commentary, but someone says he's not supposed to be interested in that. Yeah.
Really? No, I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that part. No kidding.
So that leads McMahon to saying that he knows where Austin is, so they go to a restaurant. And there's a shit ton of food on their table, which is like overkill, the amount of food that was there. And McMahon's not eating any of that shit, because he only eats pasta and chicken. So it's just like,
you don't need junk.
Ridiculous amount of food there. So McMahon tells the Stooges not to eat too much, because we got to watch out for Austin. And this is where Austin comes for an evening snack. So they start to complain about the food. The waitress smashes baked beans on Briscoe's hat. Another goofy comedy segment with some poor acting by the waitress that didn't know she was going to be acting today, but when WWF came knocking on the door, like, all right, cool,
surprise, motherfucker.
And then they make their way to a gun shop, and Austin is supposed to be right behind the door. McMahon wants Austin to hit him, so he tells the Stooges that, I'm going to let him hit me, but then you got to jump him. They're like, jump him. So McMahon says, after you jump him, I'll sneak out and get the car. And they're kind of like, I don't know about that plan. So I can only imagine McMahon gets the car and just leaves them. Drives off. So anyways, Austin's supposed to be behind this door in the gun shop. McMahon opens the door, and it looks like Austin is sitting there with his back to the camera. So McMahon tells him, "Hey, Austin, I've been looking for you, you chicken shit." And then Austin turns around, and it's not Austin. And the guy says, "Who you calling chicken shit?" So it's another guy dressed up just like Austin, the goatee. And I was fooled too at the first shot when they opened the door. I was like, "Oh shit, it actually is Austin." Then it turned around and was like, no, it's Dollar Store Austin.
Dollar Store Austin? That's hilarious.
All right, then that brings us to the last part, and we'll play audio for this last part. I didn't want to play audio for all the skits, but in this last one, Austin shows up. So take a listen to that, and we'll talk about this last skit.
He's found Stone Cold. What?
Hey, Austin. Hey.
Look, McMahon found Austin.
Hey, chicken. You. Yeah, you. Stand up when I'm talking to you. Come on. Don't you turn your back on me. I threw your ass over the top rope. I beat you in the Royal Rumble, and it's eating you up inside. You know damn well it is. Come on, stand up. Yeah, come on. Come on, Austin. Hit me. Come on. I came all the way from this godforsaken place to be... Come on, Austin. What's the matter, huh? Come on, you chicken.
Come on, Austin.
Stand up. Hit me. What's the matter with you? Huh? Come on. Damn it.
Come on, Austin. Hit him.
Go ahead.
I done told you once, you dumb son of a bitch. And if you got a hearing problem, read my lips. I'm not gonna hit your ass here in Victoria, Texas. I'm gonna wait till it's nice and legal when I get your ass in that steel cage. Do you understand me?
You chicken shit. Hit me, you son of a bitch. Go! Come on! Come on! Let's go! Come on! Hit me! Damn it, hit me!
Hit him. I done told you, Vince. Look at me. I'm not shaking like you. I done told you. When I get your ass in the cage, your ass is mine, and you will know that Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. And like I said, I'll say it one more time. I will not hit you tonight, but I can't speak for, as you put it, these kind of people. So, as I make my exit and head to the house, you guys show Mr. McMahon a real good time at my expense. What the hell are you talking about?
Oh, guys, wait.
my God. Everybody.
Yeah.
Austin is chicken.
That's all right.
Wait a minute.
all
Let's
right,
take it
guys.
easy. You know, I
He's gonna
came
wait
here
for the
for
cage.
Austin. That's it. All right.
Listen.
Come on, guys.
Easy. Easy
Okay,
now. I came here for Austin.
Buy your beer?
We like this town, man. It's a nice
This looks like
town.
deliverance.
All right, so the guy in the gun shop had told them that Austin goes to this different bar, and McMahon heads to that bar with the Stooges. They see Austin saddled up at the bar. McMahon goes up to him, calls him a chicken shit. And Austin makes it perfectly clear he's not going to beat his ass now. He's going to wait until the steel cage match. And Mr. McMahon's all pissed because he wants to provoke him. So he said, "Damn it, hit me." He says, "Vince, look, I'm not shaking like you." Which is great because McMahon was all like worked up and nervous. And he's like, "Hey, I'm not shaking like you. I won't hit you. I can't speak for all of them. These kind of people." And McMahon's like, "Oh shit,
You people.
right?" He says, "Hey, show Mr. McMahon here a good time at my expense." And then it looks like everyone's gonna like jump on them or something, like in some shitty '80s bar movie. So that's how that played out. So for that episode of Raw, you don't get much Austin. Austin's getting a lot of time off lately in the past couple of months through January and now into February. He's getting like every other week off. Last week he was just getting drunk with HBK at his house. This week he gets to go to a bar.
Yeah, when you break it down, it's pretty sweet gig he's got right now.
All right, and then just for this Raw, just want to kind of recap the world title picture. So now we have Mankind as the champion, and Mankind still has all that money that he took from The Rock, and The Rock wants his money back. And you know, The Rock wants his money back because he gave Mankind the title shot. That was part of the deal. That, oh, you give me my money back, and I'll give you the title shot at the halftime heat. So Mankind is still spending his money. He buys Max Mini. Max Mini's backstage, and he buys him off some dude. So he buys this little person. The guy looks like Kenny Powers. Like, exactly. Like,
Yeah, he
even
does.
more so than... who did we call Kenny Powers before in the past?
Oh,
Maybe Neil
I don't
Patrick
know.
or something. But anyway. So this dude, legit though, it's like a little Kenny Powers, and he sells Max Mini to Mankind. Mankind's just going around spending money. He goes up to Deborah at one point and says, "I got something for your boobs," and she's like, "What?" He's like, "Oh, I do get a tingly feeling all over when I see them, but you need to cover it up." So he gives her a sweater. So he's just out there spending the money. So The Rock wants his money back, as I was saying. He says, "I want my $97,000 back." Well, Mankind says, "Well, it's about $72,000 now." And The Rock's going to challenge him. He says, "I want my money back. I gave you the match. Now I'm challenging you to another match." So The Rock challenges Mankind to a last standing match at St. Valentine's Day Massacre. And Mankind gives him the match. And The Rock is losing his voice during this promo. So you can hear it, and it's like you can see him kind of getting frustrated and pissed too. He's like, "Fuck off," because he wanted to do a lot better than he actually was able to. So that's
He's a perfectionist, still to this day. So
Yep.
I respect that.
So this is another Rock versus Mankind. So it's like pay-per-view after pay-per-view at this point, like the third one in a row, I believe, or even fourth, because they had a match at Survivor Series. Actually, no, they didn't have it in the December pay-per-view, but they had their match at Survivor Series where The Rock turned. Then they had their match January 4th where Mankind won the title. And then the third match was the I Quit match. Now they're having this fourth match. All right, so that's the world title picture. Also, a little side note, things going on at the time, wrestling related. There was an episode of That 70s Show. It was in the first season of That 70s Show, and it came on February 7th, 1999. It was called That Wrestling Show, and I watched it. I went back and I watched it. Yeah, it was on Netflix. Shit. So I said, screw it. Let me take a little 20 minutes to watch that. It was all right. It had The Rock was in it, and he was playing Rocky Johnson. And he says one line at the end of the show. He says, "Oh, one day I'm going to have a kid who's going to be the most electrifying superstar in all of wrestling."
Well played.
So that was pretty cool. And then Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy had a match as like two jobbers. Well, they didn't say their names or anything, but I knew it was them. Just like in the background going on. So, yeah. So wrestling's getting big, is my point of bringing that up, is that, yeah, it's so mainstream.
Yeah, it's mainstream now.
All right, now that brings us to Heat on February 7th. Mr. McMahon's going to have an announcement for Austin. He's going to announce that Chyna and Kane is going to be a match at St. Valentine's Day Massacre against Triple H and X-Pac. And also, he brings up the last man standing match, The Rock and Mankind. But his announcement to Austin, well, might as well just play it first. All right, so take a listen to McMahon's comments to Austin here on Heat from February 7th, 1999.
And then that would bring us to Stone Cold Steve Austin. A lot of people think Austin showed restraint when he walked away from me. No, that wasn't restraint. But it was cold. It was stone cold fear.
I don't know about that.
Now, Austin, you may not necessarily be afraid of me, but you are afraid of defeat. You are afraid of history repeating itself because it just eats you alive that me, Vince McMahon, took you and threw you over the top rope single-handedly and became the winner of the Royal Rumble. So, Austin, you go ahead and put up that #1 spot of contention at Wrestlemania, because you know I have a plan. You know I have a foolproof plan. You don't know how. All you know is that Vince McMahon is going to defeat you 1 week from tonight. And indeed, Austin, your career will be massacred.
Boy, listen to these fans. Mr. McMahon certainly hears it, probably hears it in his sleep.
Tell you what I'm going to do, Stone Cold. After it's all said and done, there you are, left inside that steel cage. Vince McMahon is on the outside. Who knows what a heaping mass of jelly you're going to turn into. Once again, Vince McMahon defeats Stone Cold. But just to make sure you're ready for the match, Austin, tell you what I'm going to do. You and Mankind deserve each other. No doubt about that. So therefore, why shouldn't we book a little warm-up match? On Saturday night, this coming Saturday night, the night before St. Valentine's Day, one-on-one, non-title, Mankind versus Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Another huge announcement from Mr. McMahon.
Good luck, Austin. Good luck, Mankind. And by the way, to both Mankind as well as Stone Cold, from the bottom of my heart, happy Valentine's Day. Thank you very much.
And not a hint of sarcasm in his voice either. A heartfelt greeting from Mr. McMahon for Stone Cold and Mankind. The order for them to meet each other the night before the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. They could massacre each other on Raw Saturday night.
All right, so McMahon was referencing what happened on Raw last week where they tried to confront him in Texas. And he says, a lot of people think that Austin showed restraint when he walked away from me. It wasn't restraint, it was stone cold fear. And then McMahon goes on to brag about eliminating Austin from the Royal Rumble. So you know I have a foolproof plan. You know I'm going to defeat you 1 week from tonight. Your career will be massacred. And then he's going to put Austin in another match leading up to the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. It's going to be on Raw. But Raw is going to be on a Saturday night, the night before the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, because they get preempted for a dog show. That damn February dog show.
Yeah, I hated that.
Yep.
That always pissed me off.
I mean, at least at this time, there was Nitro to watch. So Nitro was going to get huge ratings that day. But, yeah, prior to that, I remember like in 95, 94, when there was nothing else. I was like, no wrestling today. Fuck. So yeah, that always sucked. In tennis too. Tennis would also preempt it. The highest rated show gets preempted for the dog show. Because they have a fucking contract with them. I bet once that contract was up, they were like, so long, dog show.
Yeah, later dogs. Later dog.
All right, so you get McMahon setting up this match for Raw Saturday night. It's going to be a non-title match. It's going to be Mankind versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's what he sets up for the following Raw. All right, so that brings us to that Raw 298, which was Saturday Night Raw, aired on February 13th, 1999. If you go on the network, it's not even listed as. Actually, it did get. Actually, that's one thing they did fix prior to the update on the network. It was listed as February 8th, 1999, and they fixed it. Now it says February 13th, 1999.
Oh,
yeah. I guess there was some confusion. But anyway, this Raw, this big Raw, it's taped. Would have been cool if it was live. It was live in Canada, so people watching it in Canada got it earlier in the week, live happening. And this was at the Sky Dome. So this was a huge Raw, crowd-wise. This is the third largest wrestling crowd in Canada's history. The two largest were Hogan versus Orndorff as the main event. And then, of course, WrestleMania 6. And now here, coming in third place, is Raw 298. They had about 43,000 people in attendance.
This is up to this point,
Yeah,
right?
up to this point, because
Rock and Hogan probably owns the record
I would
now,
imagine.
right?
Yeah.
Well, even though I don't think that was the main event of
that
WrestleMania,
WrestleMania.
but that showed the steal.
WrestleMania
Yeah.
19.
That steal the. What the fuck am I saying? Trying to say
show,
that stole the show. What did I even say?
That steal the show. Yeah.
Did I say that? I felt like I said like steal the shit or something. Like my brain wasn't like fell behind my mouth.
That happens. But yeah, that probably took the cake. Was that WrestleMania 19 or 18?
I think 18. I think.
Yeah, it's funny. You go back and you watch that one, you see that match, and then they have the main event after that. It's like, oh shit, this felt like the main event.
Yeah, it was 18. It was 18. 2002.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, one of my favorites, if not my favorite match all time.
Just like crowd-wise too, like how they fed off the crowd. And
Yeah,
Hogan.
they did. They're just the two of the best entertainers
Like
in
the Rock
wrestling
knew
history.
how to do it. He knew like, oh shit, I gotta work as a heel now in this match.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right on the fly. That's what made everything so much better. They just embraced, which you wish they would do that more nowadays. Just embrace what the fuck the fans want, and this is what happens when you listen to the fans and you just give them what they want.
Moments. Yeah.
Magic. Yeah.
All right, so here at this Raw, we're going to start off with Austin, which just going through and watching these episodes and taking the notes, when Austin comes out, I'm like, fuck yeah, finally, he's back in the ring. Because after watching 2 Raws of one where he's just in a bar and one where he's just sitting at Michael's bar and just not really getting much of him. Like, all right, finally, he's back in the damn ring. So here we are. Stone Cold's back in the ring. He's going to cut a little quick promo, so take a listen into that.
I know when Vince McMahon made the non-title match between myself and Mick Foley, he was counting on the fact that we'd be in this ring beating the living hell out of each other.
What I said!
And that's all fine and well with me because I got all the respect in the world for Mick Foley, and as far as I'm concerned, he is one tough son of a bitch. But to Vince, I'll tell you this, no matter what happens in this ring, when I get your ass in that steel cage, there ain't gonna be a damn thing you can do against Stone Cold Steve Austin except lace up your track shoes real tight and run around the damn cage, because let me tell you something. You sit there in your office and you think, oh, what can I do next to Steve Austin? How can I screw Steve Austin? What can we do to get Stone Cold Steve Austin out of the World Wrestling Federation? I'll tell you this, there ain't a damn thing that you can ever do to get rid of Stone Cold Steve Austin, and that's all I got to say about that.
The rattlesnake laying down the law.
You see, Vince, you're the only person standing between me and my title shot at WrestleMania. And it always seems that you're so good at making guarantees. Well, let me tell you something. I got a couple guarantees I want to lay on you.
There's that word again, King. Yeah.
I can guarantee you, number one, that I will beat your ass up and down every side of that damn cage.
Wait a minute. He can do it.
The second guarantee I'll make is that I will step right over your limp carcass and walk my ass right into WrestleMania to the title shot.
That would put Mr. McMahon in a coma.
The third guarantee I'll make you, Vince, is I will guarantee in that cage match there will be bloodshed. A lot of bloodshed, and it ain't gonna be mine.
That means McMahon's blood. No way!
This is Sunday, your ass is mine, and that's the bottom line, 'cause Stone Cold said so.
King, I believe so. Wait a minute.
All right, so as I was saying, I was excited that Austin's back in the ring, and the crowd is surely excited about him being back, and especially a crowd of nearly 43,000 people definitely made that place pop. And Austin comes out with his vest. I think it's a new vest. I don't remember seeing it before. May have, but I felt like I needed to take a note on it. I like to bring up when he has new gear. So he had this vest that has BMF on the bottom right side of it and has Hell Yeah on the back. Oh, BMF, bad motherfucker. This has to be the first time. I would have said something before. I'm not sure if you noticed it. Oh, that's his new gear. All right, so Austin's going to tell the audience that McMahon wants him and Mankind to beat the hell out of each other tonight in this non-title match that he set up. And he has nothing but respect for Mankind. He's a tough son of a bitch. But no matter what happens in this match, when I get your ass in the steel cage, there ain't going to be a damn thing you can do. As McMahon, you like to sit in your office thinking of ways to screw Stone Cold Steve Austin and how to get rid of Stone Cold. There ain't a damn thing you can do to get rid of Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's all I got to say about that. That's like his other go-to. Instead of saying that's the bottom line, he finishes things up often with, and that's all I got to say about that. But then he doesn't, because then he says something like 5 seconds later. So you have a couple guarantees. So that's not all he has to say. Austin now has a couple of guarantees from Mr. McMahon. Number one is that he's going to beat his ass from every side of the cage, back and forth. The second guarantee is that he's going to step over his limp carcass. And he's going to walk his ass right into the Wrestlemania title shot. And there's going to be a lot of bloodshed. And it's not going to be mine. And I have to point this out. All right, so he says, let me repeat that. There will be a lot of bloodshed, and none of it's going to be mine. Then Michael Cole jumps in on commentary and says, that means it's going to be Mr. McMahon's blood. It's like, no shit. Why do you have to jump in and say that?
Yeah, that was like,
no
hey,
shit.
Captain Obvious. He still says that dumb shit to this day.
Yeah, like we're all idiots. We can't understand.
Yeah.
Oh, if it's not Austin, then I guess it's who? Who's it going to be? So it says, this Sunday, your ass is mine. That's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. All right, so that's the end of his portion of the promo, but this gets dragged out because this is Raw at this point in the Attitude Era, where the opening segment's about 20 minutes. So Mankind's going to come out next. He brings up, I heard bloodshed. Someone say something about bloodshed?
Yeah. Cue McFoley.
And he says, I'm thinking of standing next to that cage and getting me some of Mr. McMahon's blood on my new white shirt. That was pretty creepy. Yeah.
Yeah, just a little. No. He didn't think that one through.
He tells him, I fully intend on being the last man standing at the upcoming event against The Rock, St. Valentine's Day Massacre. And WrestleMania, you're going to be looking into these eyes. So Mankind's pointing out it's going to be me versus you, Austin, at WrestleMania. Let's not forget about this tonight, though. These fans want to see somebody get their ass kicked. It might be you. It might be me. Somebody in this ring is going to take one hell of a beating. Mankind, at that point, he tells Austin, I'm the WWF champion until I'm not. Which always just sounds lame. He said it a couple times already. I'm the WWF champion until I'm not. No shit. And at that point, yeah.
You don't say.
And at that point, Mr. McMahon's music comes on. And he comes out. And the entire corporation comes out. And they're standing up on the ramp. The Rock grabs the mic. And he says, there's a strong need to set both your candy asses straight. Mankind, this Sunday, The Rock plans on making your death wish come true. As far as Stone Cold Jabroni, Vinnie Mac, The Rock says, set his candy ass straight. Mankind then takes, not Mankind, McMahon takes the mic. Then you immediately get the huge asshole chants from one of the largest Raw crowds ever. No, asshole, of course. McMahon reminds Austin that there would be no chance in hell to win the Royal Rumble, and that, again, there'll be no chance in hell to win this steel cage match. McMahon is so confident that he's going to guarantee, make another guarantee, there's that word again. When I make a guarantee, you can bet on it. So he says, the guarantee is that not one member of the corporation will interfere in a steel cage match. If anybody from the corporation interferes, he will fire all of them. So if any one person interferes, they're all fired. He says, after the cage match, the WWF will never, ever be the same again for you, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And they make that a big point coming up over the next week or so, or the next night, rather, leading up to the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, is they use that in the opening segments, or the commercials, rather, the promos, that WWF will never be the same again for you, Austin. That's what they're emphasizing, the for you. So, something's in store. We'll have to see what happens next week when we cover the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. But Mr. McMahon also announces that on this episode, in this non-title match, that he will be the special guest referee in Mankind versus Austin. So that brings us to that match, and we're not really going to get a match here. But McMahon comes out in his special ref attire, all jacked up as he likes to be. Right,
shredded.
He always wears, his cutoff ref shirt, show off the guns. And Austin's gonna go right up to him. They go nose to nose. Vince brings both together. He brings Mankind and Austin together. He tells them, "I don't want you to shake hands. All the rules are out the window." McMahon just wants them to kick the shit out of each other because the next night he wants a weakened Austin, and he also wants a weakened Mankind so that The Rock can retain title in the last man standing match.
Title, yep.
So they're gonna go on the mic here, and we're not gonna get the match as I was just alluding to, but listen to what happens to prevent this match.
Now let's get it on.
Yes! So
Now,
here
basically what you're saying is you want somebody here to get their ass beat. Is that clear?
I want somebody's ass kicked.
Well, that's exactly what's going to happen, Vince, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to get my ass kicked. Mankind ain't going to get his ass kicked.
What? Uh-oh!
So I guess that means it's you that's going to get your ass kicked.
What's he talking about? Stone Cold can't touch him or he's fired.
Come on.
Listen.
No. I'm not going to kick your ass. Mankind ain't going to kick your ass. He's going to kick your ass.
Oh no! Sacco! Mr. Sacco in the gullet of Mr. McMahon! Get help! And here comes The Rock!
Alright, so we get a special appearance by Mr. Sacco. McMahon tastes some Mr. Sacco. Austin tells him, I'm not going to get my ass kicked. Mankind isn't going to get his ass kicked. So I guess that means it's you that's going to get his ass kicked. So McMahon's like, oh, yeah, you're going to provoke me? You want to hit me? He says, no, I'm not going to hit you. Mankind's not going to hit you. I'll kick your ass. But he's going to kick your ass. McMahon turns around and you got Mr. Sacco. So the corporation immediately runs down to help out Mr. McMahon, and Austin and Mankind begin to fight them off and clear the ring. McMahon walks off with Chyna and Shane. Then we get back from the break, and McMahon's on the ramp again. So the match never happens, and McMahon's going to set up a new match. He's going to set up a match for Austin to have tonight, and it's going to be the corporate gauntlet. So everybody except The Rock will be in this gauntlet match, so Austin has to go through everybody. And there's a strange set of rules for this gauntlet. And this gauntlet match is going to start at 1 hour, 24 minutes, 58 seconds of Raw 298. And it's going to go to the close of the show. Okay, but the rules are apparently that the match doesn't end until Austin can defeat one member of the corporation. Which seemed weird to me because I thought gauntlet matches where you have to beat somebody and then the next one comes out. Right? Isn't that traditionally how gauntlet matches are?
Yes, and I didn't realize that apparently DQ doesn't count, right, as a win.
Yeah, so
something?
if someone gets...
I felt very confused trying to like follow what the
so
fuck
did
was
I.
going on here.
So let's kind of just run through it here. Shamrock comes out first. Austin's going to hit a stunner on Shamrock. He's going to go for the pin. But Test runs in, breaks the count. So Shamrock gets DQ'd. So it has to be a pin, I guess, until Austin can pin. I think they say that. I think they say submit or pin. So DQ doesn't count. So everybody keeps getting DQ'd. So it's pretty lame in the beginning there. So Test is now in the ring now. Test gets done. Kane's now going to break the count. So Test gets DQ'd. Now Kane's in the match. Kane's going to slam Austin with a choke slam, but Austin kicks out of the count. He stuns Kane. Then Chyna runs in, gives a nut shot. So Kane gets DQ'd. And Chyna's now in the match. Austin gives her a stunner right away. Bossman comes in. Chyna gets DQ'd. People are getting pissed at this point. They're starting to throw shit into the ring. Crowd is nuts at this point in the show. And they've been pretty rowdy overall, but now they're just throwing shit all over the ring.
Yeah.
So Bossman is in there now. He's supposed to be the final man in the gauntlet. So McMahon tosses Bossman his nightstick. McMahon wants Austin to be nice and weak for the steel cage match, so he wants Bossman to beat him down. So Bossman is whacking the shit out of Austin with the nightstick. Earl Hebner is just telling Bossman to knock it off. Like, everybody was just getting DQ'd for just grabbing someone's leg and breaking a count. But now, there's no DQ. I guess my only explanation for this would be, since Bossman is the last one left, then there can't be a DQ. Because there's nobody left to come. So Austin has to beat somebody. So no DQ
Possibly.
at the end here. But still, just one of those situations again where it makes Earl Hebner look like an idiot because he's DQing everybody for just breaking the count, which is what happens in like every tag team match. And nobody ever gets DQ'd. Right.
Like this is new to him.
So that happened there, and that was kind of, yeah. Okay, so weird gauntlet, to say the least there. McMahon gets into the ring. He takes his shirt off. He begins to taunt Austin. And McMahon covers Austin. He makes Hebner count 3. So McMahon has the bell rung. He tells the bell to get rung. He grabs a beer. It's a Molson Ice since they're in Canada. And you have just tons of shit flying into the ring again, as I said. Austin is held down in the corner by Kane, Test, Bossman, and Shamrock. And McMahon's going to pour the beer all over Austin. Now, this is a classic visual where McMahon gets in Austin's face, and he's yelling and screaming at him. Says, things will never be the same. Things will never be the same for you. McMahon looks like he's losing his mind. He looks like he's going to have a heart attack as he's in Austin's face. But making for a great visual. It's an intense ending of the show, and definitely a great way to end the go-home show leading to a pay-per-view, which is the very next night. So for people watching in America, it's like, all right,
I thought so.
That's tomorrow night. I want this pay-per-view.
Yeah, best time. I mean, Saturday Night Raw. Great way to sell St. Valentine's Day Massacre here. Which I don't. This is the first St. Valentine's Day Massacre because I know they end up using this.
So. I think this
again,
might be the only one.
This is the only one. All right, I thought they'd use.
Pretty sure it's the only one. All right, so that builds us up now to what our main topic will be next week, which is the coverage of the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. We'll do the pre-show, which is the Heat. We'll do the pay-per-view, and then we'll do the following night on Raw. So that's what we'll get into next week. But before that, before we leave you guys, we have a little bit more to take a look at with the Attitude Era update. We left off at the Royal Rumble, and we had some storylines going on, some new storylines starting to form. Some of them continued on from after the Royal Rumble, but I want to just go a little rundown through some of it. Focus on the corporation because that's our main heel group at this time. And a lot of it we covered already with McMahon and such. So this is kind of like the second tier of the corporation shit going on. Like, for instance, on Raw 296, the Stooges give Bossman and Shamrock this water that has saltpeter, which I never fucking heard of before, but I guess it's supposed to make you not horny. And
I've never heard of that either.
so Bossman and Shamrock had been getting distracted by Deborah trying to flash her tits during matches and causing them to lose matches. So the Stooges give Bossman and Shamrock that shit, and I guess it works because they're not influenced by Deborah's ways. So that happened there. And they're going to have a tag team title match, so that's like the main reason why the Stooges want to make sure that they don't give in to Deborah. So they have a tag team title match, Bossman and Shamrock against Owen Hart and Jeff Jarrett. And Owen Hart and Jeff Jarrett are going to win the tag team titles. A new blue blazer comes out. And he comes out and whacks Shamrock with the chair. And that's how Owen pins Shamrock. You got the blue blazer. Now, we've covered it. We've seen Jeff Jarrett be a blue blazer. We've seen Owen Hart as a blue blazer. But now they haven't revealed it yet, but it's Coco Beware is the blue blazer. So you got a black blue blazer.
Oh, really? I forgot. That's funny.
And I think even on the next night, or on the heat that comes up after this, I believe the next week, I think it's Shane McMahon on commentary says it's the black and blue blazer.
Black and blue.
All right, so you got new champs there. Bossman and Shamrock lose the titles. Owen Hart and Jeff Jarrett, new champs. Just see. All right, you got shit going on with Shane McMahon and X-Pac. They have a little feud going on. Shane's going to challenge. Well, Shane wants to fight X-Pac, and he says he can kick his ass, and he actually does a Bronco Bust at their X-Pac with the help of Kane being around. And DX is going to run out and break up the fight. But yeah, so we got some involvement between Shane and X-Pac, and I think they have a match at WrestleMania 15, if I'm not mistaken. And I think it was pretty damn good too. It's like Shane McMahon's first match, I think. Yeah, so it would make
no kidding. Because I don't remember his first match. It
makes sense
so.
If this is happening here, that it leads to that.
Yep.
All right, so we know China turns. She joins the corporation. She gets introduced on Heat 27 as being part of the corporation. She cuts a little promo saying that she's the force behind DX. She carried them for 2 years. Where's my gratification? I didn't get a damn thing. So she actually talks here. Says Vince McMahon was willing to give me the bucks. I can now buy and sell you like a bunch of cheap whores, she says. So she's starting to get on DX. And Triple H is going to come out later and call her nothing but a $2 whore. Which is just crazy shit at the time on this Attitude Era. And they're going to make a match, Triple H versus Corporate Kane in a steel cage match on the following Raw. In that cage match, Triple H almost escapes a few times. X-Pac's going to come down, slam the door on Kane's head to prevent him from leading. Kane climbs the cage, but X-Pac's going to climb up to fight him down. And Triple H is making his way over, but Chyna's going to head down to prevent Triple H from getting out. But he kicks her off, and he makes his way out. He gets the win. And you get a huge pop for Triple H. So at this point, Triple H is starting to, underneath, become a big star at this point. Underneath The Rock and Austin and Mankind. So he's rising up here. He's getting popular. And it's funny that, when you get something that you want, if they stick around for too long, you turn on it.
Yeah, yep. What's that saying from the Batman movie? Either
right, I know exactly.
The Dark Knight. You either die a hero or see yourself live long enough to be the villain. Yeah, I love that line. I love that line so much. I always
so much you love it. All right, so that's kind of the gist of what's going on with the corporation outside of The Rock. The Rock actually does have a match against Steve Blackman, and the reason why I bring it up now is because I didn't realize. I just found out this past weekend when I was watching some old wrestling. It was a YouTube video. This guy, his name's Paul Frazier. He has a YouTube channel where he creates a month-long video of WWF from the 80s into the 90s. So it's like August 1988. And he just takes a bunch of stuff from August 1988 and compiles it, interviews, promos, matches from like Superstars and Wrestling Challenge. And you kind of get like the summary of what happens in that month. It's like an hour and a half long. So I was watching one of those, and there was a match. It was the Islanders, Haku, Tama, and Afi Sifa, CV Afi. And it was a three-way match. And then their opponents were jobbers, for the most part. It was Outback Jack, who was a wrestler in the 80s, and he was jobbing out, basically. But then it was Steve Blackman. And I was like, what the fuck? Steve Blackman? The Steve Blackman here in 1988? Yeah. So
Really?
9 years before he was in the WWF. He was there. He was already there doing job matches. He only did like 2 or 3 that were on TV.
Huh.
So I looked up. It's like, oh shit, I got to see this. And then apparently it was true. On the Wikipedia, I had those matches. It even had the match that I was watching. It said he was in that match. And then shortly after, he was about to be signed, but he got sick. He had malaria, and he was bedridden for 2 years. So by like 1999, malaria. Yeah.
Malaria? Jeez.
So by 91, he started to get healthy again and started to train. And that's when he started to incorporate martial arts into his training. And he leaned out. So he used to be big, like jacked. So now he's, thin, lean. And he used martial arts to kind of get him back on track. And he gave a call to Owen Hart and Brian Pillman in 96 to see if he could get a tryout. And they got him a tryout, and that's how he got back. Yeah. So,
No shit.
So, The Rock has this match with Steve Blackman. Obviously, The Rock's going to win. And the place is going nuts for The Rock. This was on Raw 298. So, in Canada, Canadian crowd was nuts for The Rock. Which is funny because just a week before, in the United States, he gets booed like crazy. But in Canada, he's the most popular. Yeah.
Canada loves The Rock.
It's just crazy. It always, and that happened back in 97 too. Remember when Austin would get booed in Canada, but in the United States, obviously they loved him because he was a feud. Right.
Well, that was when he was feuding with Bret Hart, which is basically like picking a fight with the entire fucking country of Canada.
All right, so that's the corporation. Ministry of Darkness shit. Viscera has joined the Ministry of Darkness. Former Mabel. He was turned during the Royal Rumble match, and he becomes part of their group. On Raw 297, there's going to be a match between Mideon Viscera and The Undertaker, which The Undertaker just sits in his chair the whole time. So it's basically Mideon and Viscera versus the Brood. The Acolytes will interfere, and yeah, the refs try to help, but then the Brood starts to beat up the refs. The Acolytes, they grab Gangrel. The Undertaker's looking on, and then that leads to, on Raw 297, later in the night, it's a hardcore match. Road Dogg and Al Snow versus the Acolytes. The Druids come out later in the match, and you can clearly tell who the fucking Druids are because you can see underneath the hoods. You can see hair, long blonde hair. So the Druids are just the newly turned Brood. So Christian, Edge, Gangrel are all now in the Ministry of Darkness. So yeah, that was definitely cool. Road Dogg and Al Snow start to bitch at each other, and they're gonna have a hardcore championship match at the pay-per-view. So yeah, so you got the growth of the Ministry. I couldn't remember if Edge and Christian were part of the Ministry. Then I saw this like, oh yeah, all right, good, they were, because they should have been.
Same here. I forget if they were or not, and then as this happened, I was like, oh yeah, it's So like, I'm pretty sure they were. Like they end up joining because they get like, I don't know, they're
Right.
like the most fitting group to actually
exactly.
fucking join. And they make it a point. They're like, "Oh, was
All
this a
along.
plan?" Like Michael Cole's just kind of like sitting. Yeah, it's like, did they get jumped in? Like they're in the fucking
Yeah, that's
London
what he says.
Crips or
Was this
something?
just an initiation process that they had to have this match? Yeah. Same with
Yeah.
Mabel too. He gets jumped in.
Big ass fucking Mabel.
All right, so that's Ministry. You have the continuing Val Venus, Billy Gunn, Ryan Shamrock, Ken Shamrock thing going on, where Val Venus is showing his porn movie, Saving Ryan's Private, Sister Act. He's making out with this hot Ryan Shamrock. She's legit. She's the more I see her each week, it's like, whoa. That first week,
I was too lazy to Google it.
Yeah,
but is that really his sister?
No, it's not.
Or is that an actress?
Yeah, it's an actress.
Because like, they don't look alike at all.
And actually, Ken Shamrock went on to date her. Because she would drive with Shamrock and Blackman on the road.
Yeah.
And they started to have a thing for each other for a little while.
Running trains and shit.
Oh, man. All right, so... Yeah, nothing really goes on. I mean, it's just the basic, stop making out with my sister bullshit. And Shamrock attacks him. And there's supposed to be a match, Val Venus versus Shamrock. But Shamrock flips out and puts a ankle lock on Earl Hebner. So Earl Hebner says, no referee will officiate this match. As the senior official, there will be no referee. This match will not happen. And he says that Shamrock and Val Venus will not have their match, and that Shamrock will have to forfeit his title this Sunday unless they can find a ref. So they're going to have a Intercontinental title match at St. Valentine's Day Massacre. But they need to find a referee. So Billy Gunn says he'll be the referee. And Shamrock's not happy about that. So Road Dogg later in the show ends up getting his ass kicked. And paramedics are around him. He's mumbling, Billy, Billy, Billy. But they don't reveal who beat him up. But I would just assume that it's Shamrock getting back at Billy Gunn for getting involved in all this shit with Ryan and Val Venus. But what Road Dogg was actually doing is that he was going to be out for a while because he was going to rehab. That's what.
Oh, okay.
So Road Dogg's going to be gone for a little while. And Billy.
For what, alcohol?
I think it was painkillers.
Painkillers, tough one.
Yep. Actually, you have Gold Dust and Blue Dust feud. This is
Can't believe we're covering that.
I just wanted to bring it up because Blue Dust.
I did watch it, though. It was funny. I knew who it was right away. I'm like, that's right. A fucking Blue Meanie.
Yeah, the Blue Meanie, Blue Dust. So nothing other than it's going to be a match, Gold Dust versus Blue Dust. But maybe one funny thing is that you have Blue Dust all naked, painted in blue, laying down. Just like Gold Dust used to do. So I thought that was kinda
don't recommend going back and watching that unless you're into that.
Yeah. The big fat blue guys.
I'll do you a favor.
Yeah.
Uncle John Van Damage doing you a favor.
And then you get the ongoing D'Lo, Mark Henry, with PMS. And I'm going to say it now because we're about to get to it soon that this is my oh hell no moment is all these PMS skits with Terry Runnels. And Terry Runnels is trying to get payback with D'Lo Brown for causing her to be losing a baby.
Miscarriage,
having
right?
a miscarriage.
Yeah, miscarriage.
So what ends up happening is that they find out that she's not pregnant. She was never pregnant. So the doctor says Terry Reynolds was never pregnant. So D'Lo's at the doctor, and somehow Terry comes up, and he's like, Terry Reynolds pregnant? She was never pregnant. Because he would have to know, I guess, like the in-house doctor would know these things. So she was lying the whole time, and D'Lo's pissed off, and we get a debut. You get the debut of Ivory. So D'Lo's going to introduce Ivory. And it says that she will do anything Mark Henry wants. Because Mark Henry needs to forget about Deborah, who's also distracting him at this time. So Ivory runs Distraction into the ring, and D'Lo finishes up with a spine buster and a match against Jeff Jarrett. And then you get a cat fight between Deborah and Ivory. So debut of Ivory's here. And now I understand why she's called Ivory, is because Mark Henry. So she was brought in to be Mark Henry's girl. So you'd have Ebony and Ivory. That's what they were thinking. Mark Henry, black. All right, so that wraps up things here for this week's Bottom Line Wrestling Cast. Actually, just gonna do a little house show rundown. I think Austin does get involved in some matches. He might be on the road a little bit, but let's just look through what he had going on. We know he didn't have appearances on Raw until that Gauntlet match. I just want to see if he had anything on the road. Oh, no, he gets subbed on one show in Cleveland on January 30th. On January 31st, he gets subbed out of that match again, so it looks like Austin's getting some more time off from the house shows scene. Let me just get through. Oh, actually, no, he does make a return to the house shows on February 6th in Syracuse, New York, and he's going to defeat Mankind, Big Boss Man, and The Rock in a fatal four-way match. And then the very next day, February 7th, the Madison Square Garden show. Like, Austin has to go to that. That's their big show. Their biggest house show is the MSG shows. So Austin and Mankind team up together, and they defeat The Rock and Big Boss Man in a Rattlesnake Rules match, whatever the hell that is. And then the 8th was that Toronto show, where they recorded the February 13th episode. And that brings us to St. Valentine's Day Massacre, or just the night before on February 13th on a Saturday, Austin and Mankind defeated The Rock and the Boss Man again. All right, so that's the Bottom Line rundown, house show rundown. Well, let's get into our moments of the week. What's JV? What's your oh hell yeah moment of the week?
This was a tough one. No. Tough one. But I'm torn between two. Oh man!
My oh hell yeah might not be Austin related.
That's the thing. I do want to keep it Austin related, I guess. So, man, I'm gonna say the bar scenes. Can I pick that in general?
Yeah.
Or do I have to pick one?
The bar scenes.
Because it's from Raw 296
when the Stooges and McMahon are going down.
Yeah, like I thought that was good because I mean, you really got to see the best of the Stooges. I don't know. Yeah. They're like I always enjoy when Vince McMahon and the Stooges are on screen. Briscoe and Patterson. Yep. It's just like natural comedy. They just have like a natural chemistry, and they all play their roles to the T. So you got like Vince McMahon, who's like your Looney Tunes leader. Yeah. Big buffed out chest and everything, and then you got his two Beavis and Butthead cohorts. Briscoe and Patterson. This one just kind of worked well because they were interacting with the general public, who, as you pointed out earlier in the episode, are just very trashy, shitty actors. Mm-hmm. Everyone thinks acting's easy until if someone puts a fucking microphone in front of your face and a camera.
Right?
And,
no shit.
Then you go back and watch stuff like, I sound like an idiot. I've been there. So no, I'm gonna go with that. That's a
good one.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that, which is Austin related.
Yeah, that's a good one. Austin related. Yeah, there wasn't much to choose from Austin related. I mean, you just had little segments throughout the last 3 weeks. Even the episode that he is on, the last one, the Raw 298.
Yep.
The Gauntlet match doesn't qualify for an oh hell yeah for me. That was just a shit show of a match. It would have been.
There's only one other that qualifies for me, but I think you're going to pick it.
Well, I'm going to keep it Austin related, but I'm going to say what really deserves the oh hell yeah. Non-Austin related. All right, so my oh hell yeah for Austin moment would be, because I thought it was funny just watching it and listening and seeing Austin drunk, like legit drunk. Promo at the beginning of Raw 296 with HBK where he challenges McMahon to the St. Valentine's Day Massacre cage match. That's my official oh hell yeah. But what really, of these 3 weeks that we've just gone through, the best thing was the empty arena match.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to pick, but I'm like, that seems like and it's on a Sunday night heat. But that was, of everything we covered in episode 41 here, that was definitely the highlight of the episode. And just to correct myself, Raw 297. I said Raw 296. Raw 297 is when
with the
McMahon and the Stooges go hunting to try and provoke Stone Cold Steve Austin into hitting, assaulting Vince. So
I mean, the story, though, it may seem like there hadn't been a whole lot of Austin, but the story fit well. It flowed, I think, if you just go back and think about what we've gone through. You have Austin challenging McMahon. He still has this contract where he can't provoke, and then you have him, McMahon and the Stooges go, and they go there. They go to Austin to try to provoke him, and he stands back and says, "Nah, I'm waiting. I'm going to wait." And then he does show up to Raw, and he's going to have this match against Mankind, and he's like, "Screw you. Mr. Sacco's going to beat the shit out of you." Then, "Oh, yeah? You're going to do that to me? I'm going to put you in a gauntlet, and then I'm going to embarrass you the night before we have this match." So it all kind of flows nicely to this match that we'll be covering next week. I just wish the match next week was a little longer. So there's going to be a lot of shenanigans, I'm sure, at the beginning and at the end of the match, but I'm hoping for something good. And I haven't watched it yet, and I haven't watched it back in years. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yep.
Next week when we cover Valentine's Day Massacre.
Likewise.
Oh, hell no!
All right. Oh hell no! I gave mine away. It's non-Austin related. It's oh hell no. Our oh hell no's are usually non-Austin related.
Yeah, they're usually always non-Austin related.
So mine was PMS and the Terry Runnels storyline continuing, and I can't wait for that to end. I think it does end at this point.
Well, mine is pretty obvious because, I mean, it's not the Insane Clown Posse, but it's damn fucking close. And that's the fucking Blue Meanie.
There you go. Yeah, it sounded like it was going to be your oh hell no. So the Blue Meanie's out there, and he becomes Blue Dust. And there's even one episode where he comes out as the Raw Boy, where he's making fun of the Nitro Girls. He's out there dancing.
Now that might actually be funny. Yeah. All right.
All right, so that kind of wraps up things there. So on next week's episode, which will be released next Wednesday, episode 42, we're back on track with our chronological episodes. We'll be covering, as I said, the pre-show to St. Valentine's Day Massacre, which is Heat, and then we'll cover the pay-per-view, and then the following night on Raw. So that's what we have in store for next week's episode. Just want to give a couple shout-outs to our podcast pals. There's Talking Taker. Talking Taker is a show with Alex and Travis, and they're breaking down the career of The Undertaker, and they are just trucking along there. In 2004, I believe, is where they're at now. And they just break it down pay-per-view to pay-per-view, and they do a hell of a job with that. So take a listen to Alex Dario kind of just give you a recap of what the show's all about. Take a listen.
Dead man walking.
Oh, hell yeah. What's up, Stone Cold fans? This is Alex Dorio, one of the hosts of Talking Taker. And along with my co-host and fellow creature of the night, Travis White, we are digging up the career of the dead man, one pay-per-view match at a time, on a podcast journey that's a lot like what you're listening to right now on the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast. So if you're enjoying what Mike and JV are doing here, going through the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin, come check us out as we explore The Undertaker's 3 decades of destruction. We're right in the midst of the Biker Taker era right now, so you can jump right in or start over from the beginning and hear us discuss The Undertaker's side of the story from his many battles with the Rattlesnake, The Rock, Mankind, and more. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, YouTube, Spotify, and more. And you can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Talking Taker. Thanks to Mike and JV for letting us plug the show, and take her easy. What? I said, take her easy.
Hey, also check out Booking the Territory, the unprofessional wrestling podcast, where Mike Mills and his pals Doc Turner and Hardbody Hopper are breaking down NWA WCW from the 80s. And they cover the Saturday night shows. They're currently in 1988, and this week on their show, which will be tomorrow, they're covering April 2nd of 1988. So they've just gotten by the first Clash of the Champions with Ric Flair versus Sting. So check that out. And they also do a show on Sundays called the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Recap, and they are currently at episode 154, and they'll be covering January 7th of 1995. So they're coming to the end of Smoky Mountain. They started it all the way back in 1992. They do one episode a week, and now they made it to 1995. So they're wrapping that up soon. So take a look at that. Go back in their archives. Booking the Territory, the Unprofessional Wrestling Podcast. And also, you can go into their Patreon. Go to patreon.com/bookingtheterritory, and you can get an additional show from us on the $5 tier from JV and I, where we do the Extreme ECW livecast. And today we are releasing episode 6. We drop episodes every 2 weeks. We do a watch-along format, so we do 2 episodes every 2 weeks. And this coming episode, the episode coming out today, is episodes 11 and 12 of ECW Hardcore TV from June 15th and June 22nd of 1993. So if you're interested in more from your team here at the Bottom Line Cast, check out the Extreme ECW Livecast. And you can reach out to us on social media, on Twitter, you can get me at MPRU83. You can reach out to JV at John Van Damage, John with an H, and reach out to us on Bottom Line Cast. Also, follow us on at Extremecast. And tell your friends about us. We're available on most podcast platforms like iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, Spotify, TuneIn, Google Play, Radio Public, iHeartRadio. So spread the word, spread the love. Give us a 5-star review. That only helps us out. And thanks for listening. You guys have
I do have a final word here.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Which I do. We missed it in the thing, but I forget which previous episode is, but we gave a shout out to Free Your Geek podcast.
Yes. Thanks.
So I actually went back and listened to a couple of their podcasts, and they did one where it was like the fictional characters from like pop culture in general, if they were to like fight each other. So like say like Scorpion and Sub-Zero versus like the Foot Clan, or Alf versus fucking E.T. Yeah. So I listened to it, and it was actually a fucking really good listen. I was like mowing the lawn and shit. And it's a good job. So if you're into that type of pop culture and everything, definitely check out Free Your Geek. I can recommend that episode. And then they also have a whole library of past episodes as well on their iTunes page, and that's at Free Your Geek.
Yes, thank you for reminding me. I didn't have that in my notes this week for whatever reason. I think it's because these notes are a couple of weeks old. So I didn't have.
They are. They are. That's the other thing, which we had mentioned to start the show. How we kind of between technical difficulties on Tuesday, a fucking ridiculous storm last Monday. I don't think we'd have a discussion.
Right,
with,
and then we've
Jay Free yet. So
right, then we've recorded 2 other shows since then.
Yeah,
we did the top 5. We did the ECW last weekend.
We've been busy, but I enjoyed the listen so much and I did listen to half of their spoiler-free review of Spider-Man Far From Home, which I haven't seen yet. So I can say, if you haven't seen it, it's a true spoiler-free review, and check it out if you're looking to get if you're into comic books and everything, or even just the Marvel movies, and you want to get an idea of how Spider-Man Far From Home is before you actually watch it. That's a good start for you.
All right, cool. So, again, that's Free Your Geek, and they're available just about anywhere. Okay? So, Free Your Geek with Jay Free. All right. I'm Mike Prue, along with JV. We'll be back next week, episode 42, St. Valentine's Day Massacre. See you then. So long.
Wolf